It's the 11th of July 2017. This is Unit 10/144 Camden Street, Newtown. Occupant Mr. Mark Anthony Stephen. Housing Service Provider St George Community Housing, SGCH. I have a physical disability. I know this unit. I helped construct it when we were a housing cooperative. We handed over the head lease to St George as we were getting older and the group dynamics were changing. St George assured us that they had appropriate staff and were competent at this job. When they put in a kitchen, which I did not want, I was more than happy with the original. They put in an inappropriate sink. It was too deep. Recently, they put in another sink which now meets the standards, but it came with prefabricated holes. There's water. There's water. I rang St George again. 4 people know. Under that red cover is a bandage. The community nurse comes twice a week. I told St George, besides showing the tenant manager, here in front of me, I showed him the 3rd tenant manager in goodness knows how many months, with no previous experience with disability awareness. He's done nothing. When I rang the other day, and it's noted in my diary, that I have to watch out for my feet to protect them. I cannot wear a shoe on my right foot. Water through the sink, on the ground where my feet go. St George is incompetent. The CEO who took over, the chairperson. There was a signing of a statement of commitment to people with disabilities over a year ago. Nothing has changed. It is worse because they know the difference between service provision, they know what's unfair, and they know the risk that they are putting people with disabilities at. We come forward to them with recommendations. They ignore them. We look for better practice because it pays off. It keeps the property well maintained, minimises risk, and enables people with disabilities in the community to function. They cannot even put in an appropriate sink. When they put in the first sink, the U-pipe down there stuck out. They knew it was wrong. The 2 people that are here, when I had to sign off, they knew. There were no heat shields on there. They knew. There was board that went all the way down, which was a trip hazard between the kitchen there with a hot pot or pan. I was sliding across. This was mounted back further. Safe manoeuvre as I spun around. The front of my chair clipped that. The pot came down this way. I don't know how I saved it, but I did. That window winder, the original had a key. It was stolen away from the property. They put this one in. I cannot lock the window, and if I screw it overly tight or I screw it to close it, I cannot, because it will break. The person who installed it knows that. I know it. That's what they classify as a good outcome. That's St George. As it is, induction. Wasn't told that I needed appropriate cookware. 3 new pans, induction, do not work. I have to use old pots and pans. The list goes on. But just coming back to this, more than 4 people know that I have a sink with a hole in it. St George is incompetent. CEO, and especially the chairperson, because they're the ones that direct the company. Everything that is systematically wrong and systemically wrong for the organisation comes from the chairperson, the board, the CEO, and down to the managers. And then we have to deal with the staff and the subcontractors. Some are good, some are bad. The good ones get ripped off, the bad ones rip us off. And St George is okay with that. We're the ones left at risk. We're the ones that have to watch the asset depreciate. We're the ones that have to get angry. We're the ones that become despondent. It's a freaking crime. Money coming to support me through the pension and the rental assistance. St George takes it. What St George is skimming off the top, what the contractors are skimming off the top, does not go back to the community. They do not run an appropriate system to provide a service that meet community standards. And I know that because the difference between what's written and what's provided are different. I'll write a stat deck. I will go to Parliament, and if there's any inquiry, Senate's Estimate Committee, I'll go before it. St George is stealing, I'll say it, stealing money out of people's pockets. Furthermore, they lie. And lie and lie and lie. And I can back that up with my documentation as well. It's that simple. My expectation, besides this going as a copy or a record of yet another evening or day where this has happened, as in yesterday, day before that, 2 days before that, and so on and so on. But I'll just put this on YouTube. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. St George is incompetent at providing housing, community housing for people with disabilities. Not just this unit, this whole property that was built by Haven Co-Housing Cooperative, auspiced by the Total Living Foundation. Back in 1995, I believe we started the project. I was working in a nursing home, providing a holistic service for adults with intellectual disabilities for 6 years, and I saw how they lived. And I saw, as a man, a normal person, then acquiring a disability at 21 and seeing the difference. But what it boils down to for me, as a third generation recipient of community housing, my grandmother, Department of Housing, my mother, Department of Housing to raise my brother and I, is I want to give back. I think housing is there to get you through something, and where you can, you move on. You move in, you go through it, and you move out, being a better person and contributing to the community. But St George is not investing in the tenants so that they can contribute more to the community and move on, so that more properties can be available for more people with diverse needs as they go through their time. They can't even put in a sink properly. And I'm going back 4 months perhaps now, longer. Should be a good doco. Very good. Mr. Mark Anthony Stephen.